All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Word with Ty Brownlow. I am your host, Ty Brownlow. And remember, no one is worthless. No story is worthless. And today I have a very special guest on my show. And we're going to do things a little bit different than I would normally do. But this is a subject that sort of, is like near and dear to my heart. But let me tell you a little bit about my guest I have right here. I got 4 words to best describe her. Entrepreneur, consultant, founder, and connoisseur. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Johann Balbuena. How are you?
Hi, how you guys doing? Thank you so much, Ty, for having me here and sharing this time with your community. Super excited.
No problem. So let me just say, we're here to talk about cannabis. All right.
Yeah, we are. My favorite topic.
All right. Look. I've been waiting to get someone on my show to talk about this for a while, but to talk about a different aspect than we would normally talk about. So before we really get into you and all of your accolades and this, that, what have you, tell us about what really got you started in your crusade for cannabis.
Absolutely. I started with cannabis as a patient. One of the things that I've done in my life is serve the country through the U.S. Navy. I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I came out of the military, served my time, and had some issues that I was dealing with due to an accident that I experienced. Was introduced to cannabis as medicine. For the first time, I had never heard that before. And started doing research just because it was like immediate help, especially with the mental health situations that I was dealing with due to PTSD. And in that moment, I just had my moment of clarity. I realized that everything that I thought that I knew about the cannabis plant and even the cannabis industry was completely incorrect, even to the point that at that time it was 2014. So even at that point, I didn't even realize that there were legal programs being implemented. Particularly, I lived in the state of California where I served, and I had no idea that legal cannabis was a thing.
Okay.
And from there, became pretty much fixated in trying to understand what that meant, what it meant to use cannabis that's regulated or that's okay to do so, and then understanding the fact that there are some medicinal components and benefits that the plant has, and then from there understanding the fact that that there's a business, that can actually conduct business that's okay with the state, and pay your taxes and do all of that. Obviously have the different hurdles due to federal legalization being a thing that we're still battling, but at the same time, I saw the opportunity, so I went for it.
Okay. See, now you hit on something, like federal legalization. We've been fighting this for a while, and as a matter of fact, I just read something not too long ago that a bill was supposed to go to the House, but that's now been suspended until like after the election or what have you. So it's just a process, which leads us into talking about you and your accolades and some of the things that you do, which is why you're here. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so come on now. Let's talk about some of this stuff that you do here. First and foremost, I want to talk about Synergy.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
What it is, basically a full-service cannabis consulting firm. Yes, let's talk about this.
Absolutely. So in it connects to what I was saying earlier. I started in this space helping companies get their licenses just because that's like the opportunity that I identified. I had just gotten my master's in business, and I realized that like the growers, the producers, the manufacturers of cannabis, there was a disconnect between understanding the language of the ordinances and the legalization language in the state of California. So I pretty much became that to them, just being able to be the person that translates and helps them navigate through that process, and then manage the lifetime of the license that we would attain together. So I started doing that and did that very successfully. Synergy is actually responsible for 12 licenses in the state of California. And we're really proud to say that over 50% of the licenses that we have attained are for majority Black-owned businesses in the state. So from there, I kind of wanted to match my passion, because even though I'm good at the administrative and paperwork, more type of stuff based on my experience in education, my passion was to create content, to be more on the educational and even entertainment side. And I realized that there's opportunities there too, because obviously people of color are not represented in that space, and I thought that we can add that component as a business, and we have been able to do that successfully in the past year. We did Cannabis Synergy, the live show, which was an event styled production where people got to experience a live show being put together, and having the consumption aspect, and then bringing different stories that you normally don't hear about in mainstream. Personally, I think that the backbone of the cannabis industry are the people like myself, like my colleagues, that are pushing, to get this thing legalized at all levels, pushing on a daily grind, to get our businesses off the ground, getting creative to overcome the different curveballs. One of the things that in the industry is kind of like a little bit of an inside joke is the fact that COVID was not new to us. Like COVID, the actual disease, yes, but the actually having to pivot because something changes, that is a normalcy in the cannabis space.
That's how we
So
operate.
to us,
Yeah.
to us, it was business as usual, just having to come with a creative solution and moving on. So that's what Synergy is about. And particularly what we do is we bring communities together that otherwise likely wouldn't come together. We like to focus on, LGBT community, veteran community, women community, people of color. Obviously, we fit all of those categories. We just focus on having an inclusive environment where everybody in the space can thrive and elevate. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
So look, I believe in giving people their flowers while they're here. That's just the type of guy I am. That's the type of show this is here. And I just want to commend you on that, especially
Thank you, brother.
Man, for real, like on the education side as well, because I think that's the main thing that people sort of miss out on.
Absolutely.
Now, before I get into the rest of these, real quick, now you were talking about, like 50% of like some of the people that you've helped obtain, get licenses are people of color, and
Yes.
some of the things that Synergy has done. What has been some of the highs and lows, real quick, if you could tell us, of that mission?
Well, the highs are, actually achieving, what we set forth when it comes to these licenses. For instance, one of our highs, I would say, was getting creative in San Diego back in 2014, 2015. The county of San Diego actually banned cultivation in San Diego. They had approved it, and then after decided to ban. There was a change in city council, so the new city council put a ban on cultivation. And what we did, and I was working with a Black-owned business at this point, we just got creative and we started thinking outside of the box and thinking, where can we grow where these laws wouldn't apply? And guess what? Tribal land. So what we did, we just went in, created a whole proposal of, what we would be able to do with a cultivation site on their land, help them create their own ordinances and their own laws and regulations, painted the picture of, with the potential of building an industry in that particular tribe location, which was outside of San Diego County. And they accepted, and we moved in, we created our cultivation. And at that point, we were the first Black owned cultivation site in San Diego, and the actual only licensed one that was operating, under legal compliance of the land that we were operating in. So again, you just got to get creative, find the way. And so in there, some of the challenges, to answer your question there, I know, long story short, curveballs happen all the time, but in this industry, if you want to be successful, if you want to be here for the long run, you have to think creatively and completely outside the box, and just a different type of mindset. Come outside of the traditional mindset and then get into that creative mindset. And I'll tell you why, brother, the plant helps too when you consume it. Sometimes you get these creative outbursts that just help you see things differently, and that's what we do. And just looking at the challenges and turning them into opportunities. That's pretty much the highs and lows in a nutshell.
That's what's up. I love that resilience in you. I love that.
But you know what? It's important to say that for Black people and people of color in general, in this space, it's really, it's tougher to raise funds, even if you have a license, even if you, like in our case with one of the companies that I've helped, even if you're vertically integrated, where you have a cultivation license, you have a retail license, you have a manufacturing license, it's just like most other industries. It's harder for us to get funded, especially as a startup, because when we go to these different venture capital firms, they don't look like us. So so those are some of the challenges that we're still dealing with. But again, we're still here. We still find the way, and we keep pushing forward. So.
Hey, see, man, look here. She on the mission. Intelligence, creativity, and the plant don't hurt either. So yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a supplement.
Just a little bit.
Right?
So another thing about you, she's an author, y'all. Okay, let's talk about what you got going. Come on, look, we're here to talk about you now. So this book you got going on, The Successful Cannaprenuer, the practice guide to thrive in the legal cannabis space. So this is known as the green print, not the blueprint, but the green print. Y'all gotta read between the lines to succeed in the cannabis industry. Now, you just released this a couple of weeks ago. So
I did.
Tell us a little bit about it. And
so the book. Absolutely. So the book, it's pretty much my baby from COVID. I had a little more time, because of quarantine, and because now everything became mostly digital. So the idea came to me, to put my experience on paper. It's also my thank you letter to the industry, because like I said, cannabis saved my life. I was at a really, really low point in my life when I first started introducing it into my routine and using it as medicine to deal with PTSD. So I tell my story of how I started. Again, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I saw the opportunity, and I pretty much paint the picture as to how I prepare myself mentally to, come up with creative ways to service the cannabis market, to service the represented communities, people of color, and other communities, in this space. And I lay out how I did it, how I think other people can do it in the space successfully, and without having millions of dollars in the bank, but hopefully getting there, because you get started. And then the last chapter, which is my favorite chapter, is just how I mentally prepare myself, what I think the mindset of a successful cannapreneur should be based on my experience and how I was able to accomplish my goals, and I continue to do so. So hopefully people can get some insight as to, in any industry, not just in the cannabis space, as to, how to endure and, be resilient, and push forward with whatever you're passionate about.
Okay. All right. So let me ask, why do you think so many Black and brown people have been excluded when it comes to the cannabis industry?
Okay, so I personally think, obviously, the ramifications of the war on drugs, the ramification of cannabis prohibition, as a community, we have a completely different relationship with the cannabis plants and with what it means, to be in the cannabis industry. To do a transaction for cannabis, to us, that criminalizes us. We see that as time and time and again, a situation that puts us in jail. May get other people a slap in the wrist, but some of us are in jail for a gram. Some of us are in jail for a joint. Some of us are in jail for the rest of our lives, for something that somebody now starts a business with, and it's legal. So that relationship is what I want to help change with my business in this space and in my initiatives that I'm trying to implement. And that's where I see the opportunity, to educate people of color, and understand that there's not only is there a medical benefit to the cannabis plant, but there's also plenty of financial opportunities that we can capitalize if we come together as a community. So that's the agenda.
All right, hey, that's what's up. Now, I want to talk about this article you were featured in when it came to the Honeysuckle magazine.
Oh yeah, I wrote that article. Yeah, so
yeah. So
it has everything to do with what we just spoke about: social equity and social justice in the space.
Yeah.
What I pretty much wanted to convey there is that as long as companies don't take it upon themselves, to build social equity within their business models and within their initiative, and push the agenda that people with non-violent crimes with respect to cannabis,
right.
That agenda, these people need to come out of jail, because as long as that is the case and that continues to be the reality, there will always be that elephant in the room that will prevent the industry from being legitimized, because that will always come up in a conversation. And it's just going to be a stain in the industry's legacy. So the first order of business is to push that, to get people outside of jail, and given an opportunity to partake, in the industry itself.
Well, okay, now that's going to lead me to my next question. But before I go into that, just to, piggyback off everything you just said, I mean, to keep it real, as a person who, is a connoisseur of the plant, there's nothing wrong with going into a dispensary to pay your money for your liking. But when the people in there don't look like you and you don't receive the type of service that you feel you deserve, especially when it comes to making your money, for most African Americans and other people of color, they may go get it the normal way they've been getting it.
Legacy, traditional way.
Right, which is the traditional way. I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
I mean, and that's the beauty of cannabis. I mean, this plant, it's a plant. I think that a lot of the times we forget that you can grow that in your backyard. You can do that. For instance, in the legal states like California, you can grow 6 plants at home. No big deal. That is actually part of the law. There are other states too that are legal that have their personal grow. So despite regulation, there will always be that market where if you want, you can grow it at home, and grow your own. And I always try to push that, because when you grow your own, you know where it comes from, you know what went into that, and what better than that, you know what I'm saying? But as long as the powers that be, as far as politics go, as long as they make it a non-business friendly environment, for cannabis companies to thrive in the legal or regulated space. The black market, aka legacy market, aka traditional market, will continue to thrive. Number one, because again, you can just grow this in your closet or you can grow it in your backyard. It is a plant, it is a flowering plant. The nugs that people smoke, that you make oil out of and all of that, it's a flower. That is an actual flower. So, and a lot of people don't know that. And that's what it comes down to. We have a lot of work to do. There's a lot of education that we need to bring awareness to, and I'm up for the challenge, brother. So that's what we're trying to do with Synergy.
All right, okay. So, man, we're almost coming to the end here. Now, I have a question. So, like, what are some solutions as far as you're concerned when it comes to bridging the gap between people of color and investors when it comes to cannabis? Because let's just say, hey, you know what? I have the money, I have certain licenses, like I have the know-how. Man, I have certain things, but I'm just missing one or two things, to take that next step to get my business on. So what are some solutions when it comes to that? Like, how can, people of color bridge that gap?
For us, it's having more people of color invest in the space. I think as long as a lot of us don't invest, then we're going to do our communities a disservice. This is a noble industry. It's brand new, so there's plenty of opportunities here. There's a lot of people of color doing it, in the black market. So where I see the opportunity is helping these companies come into the regulated space, with my expertise with the compliance aspect of it. That already minimizes a lot of the risk, having somebody that knows to navigate the environment, the business environment, and as far as the regulation goes. So again, I'm putting all my resources, to helping resources on my network, to creating ecosystems and foundations for people of color to thrive in the space. One of the things that I did that, that was in my control was pretty much put out the information in that book, The Successful Cannaprenuer, and putting it out in the universe. Hopefully, people that look like me, that see that I look like them, and what I've been able to accomplish, and with other people that also look like us, and that motivates some of us, to invest some dollars in the space, and then help our communities. Because personally, I think that cannabis is consumed, is grown, and it's sold in every single country despite legalization. True. The demand is there, the production is there, no matter the status of the legal status in worldwide. So it behooves us, to participate, especially in an industry that was built on our backs. We've been criminalized for it, so it's about time that we start capitalizing. So let's do it. So anybody's ready, hit me up. Go grab my book, and it's available on Amazon, The Successful Cannaprenuer. So let's get it.
Look here, y'all heard her, man. Woman on a mission, and she has the plan. Man, like she said, go out and grab that book. So we have come to the very last question, the question my show is known for. Miss Johann Balbuena, what is the one word that best describes you, and why?
One word that best describes me, I would say, is resourceful. I'm one of those people that I accept when I don't have all the answers, but I will find out who has them and make that connection. Just because,
like that.
That's how the world works, That's how you bring communities together by doing that. Not by just having one vision. You get everybody's vision. You come together. You get the synergy, and you push forward. And walk the same path. And hopefully, it's for a better future for everybody. So. That's my word.
You know what? I like that. Sort. Okay, that's your word. She's sticking to it. That's what's up. So if anybody wanted to get in contact with you, like, how can they find you?
Yeah, so please visit our website. It's synergyuniverse.io. So there you will see what we're about and all the different initiatives that we have going on. You can follow our Instagram, cannabis.synergy. Also, my lifestyle brand, since we're in the topic of cannabis, is Boycott Shitty Weed. We have apparel, we have a lot of different things, and it's a beautiful message that pretty much, in essence here, because I know we got to go, is if your weed is not high quality, it is shitty. If your weed does not support social justice and social equity, as far as the business models go, then it's also shitty, so you should boycott that. But also, it's just an educational pun there with the shitty that the actual name for cannabis is weed. So it's also an educational opportunity there that we like to have fun with. But again, at Boycott Shitty Weed on Instagram, and then go cop the book, thesuccessfulcannaprenuer.com, or you can find it on Amazon on paperback and ebook.
All right. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, I thank my guest, Miss Johann Balbuena. Man, she has all the answers that you need. Y'all need to hit her up. She just dropped all her handles. I will put them up on my webpage for you. Once again, I am Ty Brownlow. This is Word with Ty Brownlow. No one is worthless. No story is worthless. You can catch me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Word with Ty Brownlow. And you can also catch me on my website to get all this good interview right here and much more at tybrownlow.com. All right. I thank you. Good night. We out. Peace.
Thank you so much. Bye.